Welcome, Crypto Flywheel, a podcast where we spin up strategies to turn your digital efforts into unstoppable momentum. Now, let's get that flywheel turning. I'm so glad you're here today because I need you to stop whatever you're doing, pay close attention. Because what is happening right now in XRP, XLM, and QNT world, it is moving fast. And most people have absolutely no idea. And here's the thing. If you're brand new here, welcome. Don't worry if you don't know a lot about crypto. I'm going to explain everything like we're just two people sitting at a kitchen table. No charts, no jargon, no confusion. Just a real story of what's happening today and why it matters to you. Let's get into it. Let's start with XRP because the story is developing around it right now is one of the most compelling things I've seen in years. And I think a lot of people are completely sleeping on it. So first, a quick explainer for anyone brand new. XRP is a digital asset made by a company called Ripple. Ripple's entire mission is to make sending money across borders, like from the US to Mexico or from Japan to Europe, faster, cheaper, and more efficient. Right now, the traditional banking system can take 2 to 5 days and charge you serious fees. Ripple can do the same transactions in seconds for pennies. That's the pitch. And banks are starting to listen. Here's what's happening right now that has me fired up. A survey by Coinbase and Ernst & Young covering 351 institutional investors, 96% of them managing over $1 billion in assets, found that 25% plan to add XRP to their portfolio in 2026. That's on top of the 18% that already folded now. Let me put that in plain English. The biggest money managers in the world, the people who handle billions and billions of dollars, are saying, we are buying XRP this year. Not because it's trendy, because they believe in what it actually does. And here's a piece of news that almost nobody in mainstream is talking about properly. Ripple acquired a company called Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, rebranded it as Ripple Prime, and on March 2nd, it was added to the DTCC's directory. Now, what is a DTCC and why should you care? The DTCC is basically the backbone of the entire U.S. financial system. Every single stock, every bond transaction, every major financial settlement in America flows through them. The DTCC processes quadrillions, that's quadrillions with a Q, in securities transactions every single year. And Ripple is now officially plugged into it. That is not a marketing announcement. That is not hype. That is Ripple connecting directly to the central nervous system of American finance. That's the kind of thing that takes years to build up to. And it just happened. And the regulatory picture, 73% of institutional investors plan to increase their overall crypto allocation in 2026. And 65% said regulatory clarity is the single biggest factor driving their decision. That clarity is here. The wall that kept the big money out are coming down, one by one. So XRP is closing March around $1.38. But historically, April has been one of its strongest months, with an average gain of 24.8% over its 11-year history. Now, combine that historical pattern with the institutional money preparing to move in, the DTCC's connections going live, and the regulatory picture clearing up, and you start to see why a lot of smart people are paying very close attention to April. Okay. Now I want to talk about two projects that I personally think are flying completely under the radar right now, and they both have major news this week. We're talking about XLM, which is Stellar Lumens, and QNT, which is Quant. Stellar XLM, the payment network that's quietly everywhere. So let me explain Stellar's simplest way possible. Imagine you want to send $100 to your cousin in the Philippines. Right now, that might cost you $15 in fees and takes 3 days. Stellar can do that in 5 seconds for almost nothing. And your cousin can walk into a local store to pick up the cash. That is real thing that is happening right now, today for millions of people. And this week, some big names just doubled down on Stellar in a major way. MasterCard launched a crypto partner program that just surpassed 100 partners, and Stellar's on it. MasterCard, that's pretty big. One of the two biggest payment networks on the entire planet, officially partnered with Stellar. That's not nothing. That's enormous. And then there's this. Stellar selected a company called Zebek as its global stablecoin payroll infrastructure provider with direct integration into MoneyGram's network, over 50 million users. That's huge, guys. What that means in practice is that business anywhere in the world can now pay their workers in real time in digital dollars, and those workers can cash out at a MoneyGram location. MoneyGram is over 170 countries. That's basically everywhere. Think about that for a second. A construction company in Texas pays a contractor in Guatemala instantly, no wire transfer, no 3-day wait, no bank cutting out a huge fee in the middle. That Stellar's doing that right now in the real world at scale. And then there's this monster move. Amundi, Europe's largest asset manager, launched a $100 million tokenized fund built on Stellar. $100 million fund. Wow. From one of the most respected asset managers in the world, built on Stellar's network. XLM is currently sitting around 15 to 16 cents per token. 15 cents. That's not much, guys. For a network that MasterCard, MoneyGram, and Europe's largest asset manager are all actively building on, the gap between the price and the fundamentals is something worth thinking about. Quant, QNT, the blockchain translator working with central banks. Now, Quant is a little different, and I want to make sure you understand what makes it special because it's genuinely unlike anything else in crypto. Here's a simple version right now. There's a dozen of different blockchain networks, Bitcoin network, Ethereum networks, Ripple networks, government banking networks, and they don't really talk to each other. It's like having a room full of people who all speak different languages with no translator. Quant built the translator. Their technology, called Overledger, connects all these networks together so they can share information and move value between them seamlessly. And here's the jaw-dropping part. Who is using the technology right now? The Bank of Japan is running blockchain experiments and Quant, through a partnership with Japanese firm Dentsu Soken, is providing its Overledger technology to support national-level digital currency and programmable payment infrastructure. The Bank of Japan, the central bank of the world's third largest economy, using Quant. Quant is also participating in the Bank of England's synchronization lab, testing atomic settlement for multi-bank treasury operations using Quant's own automation platforms. The Bank of England, two of the most powerful central banks on earth, both actively testing Quant's technology for their future payment systems. QNT is also playing a central role in the UK's tokenized deposit pilots with giants like HSBC and Barclays. HSBC and Barclays, man, they're huge. These are not startups. These are the oldest, most established banks in the world. And here's what QNT is financially interesting from supply's standpoint. There are only about 15 million QNT tokens in existence ever. That's it. That's a whole supply. Less than 15 million. You guys hear that? Less than 15 million. And every single enterprise or banks that want to use Quant's network has to hold and lock up QNT tokens to access it. So as far as banks adopt the technology, available supply of tokens gets smaller. Basic supply and the demand side is being driven by central banks and trillion-dollar institutions. So right now, QNT is sitting around $65 to $70 right now, and it's quietly becoming the infrastructure layer that connects the entire global banking system to the blockchain world. So I'm gonna take it easy on you guys. All right. So let me zoom out and give you the honest big picture, because I always want to be straight with you. We are in a moment right now where the fundamentals, the real stuff, the partnerships, the regulations, institutional moves are building faster than the prices are reflecting. In crypto, that gap doesn't last forever. When the market wakes up to what actually is being built, things can move very quickly. Let me walk you through what just happened in the last few weeks alone. Ripple officially connected to the DTCC, the backbone of the U.S. financial markets. MasterCard added Stellar to its global partner program. The Bank of Japan and the Bank of England are both actively testing Quant's technology. Europe's largest asset manager launched as a fund on Stellar. A major survey showed 25% of billion-dollar institutions are planning to buy XRP this year. This is not hype. These are real institutions making real commitments. Here's what I'm watching closely over the next 30 to 60 days. Senator Lumens has said the Senate Banking Committee plans to mark up Clarity Act in the second half of April. And if that happens, it makes an entire regulatory framework we've been talking about permanent, written into federal law. That will be the single biggest unlock for institutional money flowing into this space. Quant's Overledger Fusion mainnet is also expected to launch later this year, which would be the full live version of their cross-chain technology available to enterprise globally. When that goes live, watch what happens. And for Stellar, now that XLM has its digital commodity classification, analysts are saying it would be surprising if ETF applications don't start appearing before the end of the year. An XLM ETF would be massive movement for Stellar's visibility and accessibility to everyday investors. Here's the bottom line. I want you to walk away with today. So crypto used to be about speculation and hype. What's happening right now with XRP, XLM, and QNT specifically is something fundamentally different. This is about real infrastructure, real bank, real governments, real money moving through real systems built on these networks. We're not at the end of the story. We might be at the very beginning. So, all right, that is your breakdown for today, March 29, 2026. I hope that felt clear. I hope it felt exciting. And I hope you walked away understanding a little bit more about why these three projects, XRP, XLM, QNT, are ones that are serious people are watching very, very closely right now. Here's what I need from you. First, hit that subscribe button right now. I drop weekly breakdowns on XRP, XLM, QNT in plain English. No fluff, just the real news. You don't want to miss what's coming in April. Drop a comment below. Tell me which one of these three are you most bullish on right now, XRP, XLM, QNT. And if you're brand new to this, tell me that too. I want to know who's in this community. Share this video with one person you know who's been curious about crypto but doesn't know where to start. This is the kind of content that actually helps people understand what's happening. We're early, we're informed, and we're watching history being built in real time.
That was great. Wow, guys, that was the golden nuggets that was just provided by Digital X there. Now, I don't know if I can add much more to that. However, I just wanted to add that if you as our listeners, if you guys want to stay ahead of the flywheel, you don't chase the current narratives of what's going on. The geopolitical narratives are actually stealing the limelight, and behind the scenes, all of these things are happening. What Digital X just said. Now, what we want to convey here in this episode is we have to, as our listeners, all of us and retail investors, we're all retail investors, we have to identify control points. Ask yourself, where does the system break if this layer is removed? All these layers. I'm talking about in terms of our financial system as it is today. You know, when you identify that, that's where the values concentrate, where the money is flowing in, as Digital X just mentioned. ETFs are coming for all of them. All of these payment rail tokens, token QNT, and then all the other assets, they're all coming. Investors, institutional investors are going to be investing into all of these assets. Now, he broke it down with XRP, XLM, and QNT. Now, what each of these represents is if we need to have liquidity and liquidity needs a bridge, XRP is actually critical. So he gave you an example of Philippines sending money across to your cousin in Philippines, right? So, and if you want global access when it expands, you need XLM, which is essential for that. And then if systems must interoperate, of course, all of these things require QNT, and QNT becomes absolutely unavoidable. So most people are trying to, what Digital also just said is like, hey, which one of these are going to be you think is bullish? Well, that's for me, I look at it like this. Most people are trying to predict prices, right? Price action. But the smarter move here is to comprehend positioning within the system being built. Like all of these things are going to be relevant, guys. All relevant to the point where Digital X said, it is going to be integrated into every system in business as we know it, in every aspect of life, from anything that has transactional transactions, blockchains, and distributed ledger technology is going to be there, right? So this is more like a market plumbing story, right? So we have to understand when he talked about DTCC, those are important aspects, with all the acquisitions of Hidden Road and G Treasury, the acquisition of Palisades. I don't know if we talked about Palisade yet, Digital X, but we can go into that a little later. But there's so many other things that Ripple is facilitating, and XRP is the asset of Ripple's holding. So what else can we say? Ripple, XRP, Stellar Lumens, XLM, and QNT, right? So these are going to be assets that are going to go. I don't know if that's going to be a flip the switch moment there, Digital X, but I think that it might be more so, slowly but surely going up, incrementally. That's what I think, So what else do you got?
Well, we've gained a few new followers that are new to crypto. So I want to welcome those individuals that have come on board with us and wanting to hear what we have to say. And so I'm sure you'll find it interesting.
Yeah. That's great. And welcome. Yeah. From Professor X, welcome. Digital X, thank you for letting all of our other listeners know that have been listening to us. But this is very important. What Digital X broke down is crucial. And we must, as all of us are in this space, needs to pay attention. And if you're not, and you're just listening just to see how to get involved, listen to our previous episodes. We have about 48 or 50 episodes or so. How many episodes do we have, Digital X?
I lost count. That's probably...
Yeah, I think we have about 50 some odd episodes, guys. So, and we've talked in detail about each one of these, and then the DTCC, Hidden Road. What else do we have? G Treasury. All these acquisitions are laying the framework and the plumbing for the new financial system. And we in the next couple of episodes, we'll start breaking down as to other areas of this new digital asset space, right? And as it relates to finance and different governing bodies like the IMF and the BIS and various other institutions that are getting involved, like Euroclear, every aspect in different parts of the regions of the world. But yeah, that's all I have. Digital X, anything else to add for our listeners?
Oh, no. If you're all done, go ahead and flywheel out of here, Professor.
Yes. Sorry, this episode got a little lengthy, but I thank you for the patience. We thank you for the patience listening to us. And as Digital X said, please do like, subscribe, and also comment and engage with us so that we can add some more insightful narratives for this space. So with that, this episode of the Crypto Flywheel is signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.